Are you sitting comfortably?
Goodnight Mister Tom is not a Christmas film.
Well, it is though, isn't it?
It's not. How is it? Name one Christmassy aspect of Goodnight Mister Tom.
Well, it's because you've got the wartime aspect, which is always.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you know what always puts me in the Christmas? The needless slaughter of millions.
No. People always have TV shows that are set in an English village around that sort of time because you've got all the children that are sent off to other people up in the country, away from London, away from the Blitz and all that.
Right.
And it's warming because you've got such high emotional stakes in such a close-knit, loving community.
I mean, that's fine. I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's not a Christmas film, is it?
No, well...
Because a Christmas film has a Christmas aspect.
No, what?
Even in Love Actually, which people see as a Christmas film, the broad theme of that is, just love. But all that happens is there's a Christmas song in it, and some people see each other at Christmas, and that's what makes it a Christmas film. That's all it takes. Mr. Tom lacks even that most basic aspect.
Maybe there's like a montage or something where he's unwrapping a gift or something. Or doesn't he wet himself at Christmas? I can't remember.
Wait, what's this?
There's a scene where he wets himself.
Goodnight Mr. Tom.
I can't remember whereabouts that is. What have you got against Goodnight Mr. Tom?
Well,
let
me give you a brief rundown of the plot of Goodnight Mr. Tom, in case you're looking at this through rose-tinted glasses, which would be hard, even with rose-tinted glasses, to see any positives in Goodnight Mr. Tom.
He's a lonely, scared child who's been sent off to an old man in the countryside, and it takes a bit of getting used to. That's basically it.
There's a bit more, isn't there? He's a emotionally and physically abused child who has to leave his mother, who is abusive, but the only person he knows, and has to go live with an old man in the village who is initially a bastard to him. Eventually, the old man realised, maybe I shouldn't be so horrible to this boy because of his clear psychological damage. And then they become friends. Oh, everything's going to be all right now in Goodnight Mr. Tom. Oh, wait, no. His emotionally abusive, physically abusive mother wants him back in the city.
Yeah.
So he goes back to the city and she's had another baby which she can't look after.
Yeah.
And then she locks them both in a cupboard.
She's obviously got her issues.
Mr. Tom has some... Yes, she obviously has her issues. They're not Christmas issues, are they? They're not Christmas issues. So then Mr. Tom has a premonition of sorts, maybe a Christmas premonition about an abused boy and his dead sibling, and he runs down to London and he gets them back. I forgot to mention before, while he's with Mr. Tom, Willie, the main guy, makes a little friend called Zach.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
doesn't he? He makes a little friend, and that's a nice thing.
Yeah.
However, the second time Willie goes back to Mr. Tom after he's been rescued, and he's even more psychologically damaged, his little friend Zach tells him to, he said, my dad's been injured in the bombing. Oh no, we all think, I hope he's going to be all right. So Zach hops back on the train to go see his dad in Blitz era London. What do you think happens to Zach, Willie's only friend?
He doesn't make it back.
He doesn't make it back. No, he's vaporised by a Nazi bomb.
But the film doesn't...
I'm not spoiling that. If anything, it's a warning.
No. The film doesn't... but all this is brushed under the rug. And
it? It seems like a pretty big part of the plot to me.
As a child watching this at around, maybe 10 years old or even below.
From a padded cell.
No, you focus on the positives and the warm, as I say, the coming together of people. And there is a happy ending.
Well, the happy ending is, if I remember correctly, the mother of Willie's dead friend gives him her dead son's bike, and Willie realises, now my friend can live on forever in this brilliant haunted bike, this lovely haunted bike for Christmas.
No, there is a happier ending than that.
What's the happier ending?
Willie's only friend's mum. Well, her husband also died.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, everyone dies.
No. She thinks he dies, rather. But then she gets another letter that says, sorry about all that death stuff. He's actually just a prisoner of war. And so she says to little Willie, he's not dead. He's a prisoner of war.
And then Willie goes, oh, that's nice. Everyone I know is. Or otherwise incarcerated.
And there's an even happier ending than that, which was to the music we opened the show to. Willie, is his name Willie?
His name is
right?
Willie. It's
Right.
fine. You can say Willie on air. It's cool. Don't overdo it though.
No, well, he's riding down the hill on
Yeah.
on that bloke's bike.
And he's hit by a truck. Good night, Mr. Tom.
No,
Merry Christmas. He's not
Mr.
hit
Tom
by a truck.
emerges.
Beats him to death with a spade.
No,
In the spirit of Goodnight Mr. Tom.
and Willie says, "I can do it, Dad. I can do it. I can ride my bike."
All right, that is a nice moment.
And
yeah.
Mr. Tom, he gets an eyebrow twitch, and we know what he's thinking. He's thinking, like, I never knew I had it in me. I never knew I could have this kind of a bond with a human child.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. No, because Mr. Tom did have a human child, but his wife
Oh,
and
yes,
son
that's true.
died of like measles 40 years previously. So his life also
Look, it's
irreparably marred by tragedy.
It's not all roses, Joe.
No, it's very much manure. It's,
But, I mean, how many people
the
here...
rose to manure ratio is massively skewed.
How many people listening to this show have a perfectly 100% happy Christmas attached to no bad memories whatsoever? Christmas
Yeah, but there's
comes.
like, there was that Auntie Lucy had a allergic reaction to a pistachio, and then there's, oh no, my sibling and best friend have died.
No, I never, as a kid, I think you just don't pick up on these things. You don't.
You'd pick up on that.
No, I watched it a load of times, and I used to just sort of go
yeah.
through the motions
All right,
with the movie.
It seems to have gotten into your psyche somehow.
It
anyway.
hardens you. It hardens you as a child.
What school did you go to? Just bare brick walls, was it?
No, but what I don't understand is that yes, it was on the curriculum, and I do remember talking about it in a class from time to
Yeah.
time. But there used to be other times when, around Christmas time, they'd wheel in the TV on that big trolley thing, and you'd think, oh, it's Goodnight Mister Tom time. And you wouldn't even talk about it afterwards.
No,
It'd just
you
be-
wouldn't, because you'd be too scarred.
It'd just be time for Goodnight Mr. Tom. And then it'd be on ITV like a week later, and then you'd sit through it again.
Yeah.
You just soak up Goodnight Mr. Tom. Your whole childhood.
I'm so
So,
glad
there were-
nobody made me watch this as a kid.
There were other kids out there watching Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yeah, and they grew up to be well adjusted.
Well, I think it's a deeply Christmassy movie.
Okay, well that's very personal to you. And as Will on Twitter points out, yes, Christmas must have happened at least once while he was with Mr. Tom, because he lived there for ages.
There we are, yes.
Although it's never shown, and in no way does it add to any
No.
kind of festive feel.
I think if we sat down and watched it together, there would come a point where Christmas happens in that movie. I'm pretty certain of it. Otherwise, why is it on at Christmas all the time? Why were we shown it every Christmas? It makes no logical sense. There's got to be some motive there.
I think, yeah, maybe some kind of Scrooge-esque TV executive. I think, probably.
Or maybe it snowed in one scene.
How
and
could
that-
I make all the children cry at once? On Christmas. A lovely Christmas.